Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. I hope you're having a great day. Stay positive, stay focused. Let's get to it. What is the hot topic that's going on YouTube or Instagram? Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Don't forget, the Cash App is Let's Talk About It Media. Thank you for all your love and support. So don't forget to comment, but be kind. If you don't want to make a comment, you could always thumbs up, share, put a flower in the comments. Whatever you'd like to do. Anything helps with the algorithm. So let's get to it. Let's talk about Love and Marriage Detroit. Love and Marriage Detroit has been on for about 2 months. They're in their reunion part 1. I really like the show. One, I like the show because it's family oriented. It's based in Detroit, family and friends in Detroit. They pray together. They talk about their relationship with God. I love that. And they show different hot spots in regards to some of the best places to eat, and different things like that. So some of the spots they've been in, I've seen. Some of the spots I haven't really seen. If it's east side, west side, you go deep, 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 haven't been there. So I really like the show, and I do feel that the women go back and forth. The women being Christina, Latoya, and Kobe. Some comments were basically saying, hey, is the guys having more of a storyline than the women? And basically the good thing is that the men are talking about the businesses they have, or businesses they're trying to create, or them having like a concert to talk about the artists that they have. So you have Brandon, who is a producer. He's been a producer for a while. And then some of the guys kind of throw a little shade in regards to each other. We see Brandon starts off, he's speaking his mind. And as he sees that he speaks his mind and protects him and his wife, it goes left with the whole group. So Brandon doesn't sugarcoat anything. If he feels a way, his wife said something, he's going to say it. He's going to tell it. He's going to tell you how he thinks, how he feels, and he may even say, well, this is why we're having this conversation, because me and my wife had the conversation. And the wife is like, no, you're not supposed to do that. In front of people. You're supposed to just be like, humdrum, don't say anything, because it goes from 0 to 10 with this group. And you could tell. So they're having this showcase, and it's allegedly Brandon Showcase. And I just watched a clip. I missed like 2 episodes, but I kind of know still what's going on. So they have the showcase. The woman actually does pretty good. But let's go back to the beginning, because Brandon has a artist that he didn't tell his wife about. In the beginning season, the wife and Brandon are kind of going through it because he didn't tell the wife that he had an artist. And allegedly back in the day, he was a little too comfortable with an artist. Now, whether they were texting back and forth, whether they met up, whatever. But in the reunion, Brandon's being general of how close him and the artist got. I'm not certain if this is the artist. I'm sure it's a different artist. This is not the artist he's working with now that's on the stage. So in the reunion, we find out that Christina was reading some of the messages. And she was very careful of what to say, because they're trying to do this new path of not saying too much to protect themselves and their brands. So Carlos is trying to get out of her, well, what did you read? What did you see? And she's kind of like, wow, Carlos, we're trying to move forward. That's back in the past. He was like, we got to know how bad it got. And that's the one thing. A couple can be in a good situation, and then there's the reunion, and you bring up all this old stuff. That's the problem with reality shows. It can affect your marriage. It can affect your relationships. It can affect your relationship with your family and your outside family, and how you're being portrayed. And some people don't want to be bothered. So I do appreciate Kobe saying, was it Kobe or Christina? No, Kobe or Latoya. I think Latoya had said, some people that say, we come on a reality show and you are you looking for a divorce? And they were basically like, no, none of us is seeking no divorce. We're trying to stay together. We're just on a show. Because as you know, reality shows, it heightens what your situationships is. So, Brandon and Christina are talking about the artists, how close they got, and he's being very general. So many people are going to say, is Brandon telling the truth about him and this artist? Is he being honest whether anything happened or did he cross the line? I do like that Brandon changed his hair. But let me say something about Brandon. Brandon and his shoes is a straight up Detroit move. Straight up Detroit move. It is. Why do I say that? Because he's going to wear what he wants to wear, how he's going to want to wear it. It could be just what he wants to do. I'll give you a quick funny story. Story time. Had a friend dating this guy. He was so humdrum. In regards to they were supposed to get married at the courthouse, he didn't show up. Said I was too busy, couldn't get away. They gave me this offer. I couldn't get away. Couldn't get away for his wedding. Then there was another situation where they were supposed to take a trip. And I'll be general because I don't want to be found out. They were supposed to take a trip. The person brought general stuff to the wedding. And the wife did not like his shoe attire. I'm going to be general because like I said, I don't want to be found out. The wife was not happy about his shoe attire. And it was like, what difference does it make? When they take the pictures, they only taking pictures from my stomach up. Don't show my shoes. So she was frustrated. So mind you, the first wedding didn't happen. Then they're not making sure the shoes what they need to be because you could just take a picture from stomach up. Dudes in Detroit will be like, whatever. It's whatever. Unless you pack it, plan it for me, I'm going to just do whatever. So that was a funny story. Story time. So when my friend told me that, we were just saying that's who they are. So Brandon wearing tennis shoes to the reunion, that's just sometimes who Detroit guys are. They'll do whatever they want when they want, and nobody can tell them different. You're not going to force me to be something I'm not. So, when the guys were talking, and you have the guys talking about them going back and forth and making comments and this is my showcase. Why is he trying to overthrow what I want to do for my showcase? This is my showcase. Who is he to try and make it seem like this is his showcase? I really like the Harrises. They seem like a great family. So we have Russell and Kobe. Russell likes to create businesses. He was trying to buy a workout spot. Not certain if they really did, and I don't know if they really gave him the financials of how that workout place was doing. Maybe that's why he was trying to sell it, because of course a lot of people are working out at home because of what transpired 2 years ago. So Russell, Kobe's like an influencer. Kobe and Christina goes back and forth about a possible branding deal that Christina had already had. And then there was some confusion in regards to Kobe allegedly wanting to be a part of it, or if she should let her be a part of it. But this is something Christina had already had in the works. So Christina and Kobe go back and forth. Christina's older than Kobe. And there's the statement in regards to Kobe Cat, because there's been a few instances where Christina felt Kobe was slightly copying her. But the biggest thing is both of them are influencer. And then Shady Carlos says who has more followers. And allegedly Kobe has more followers. And I guess maybe she's been doing this a shorter time. Who knows? she could be in a demographic in regards to mother daughter. Maybe that's what the direction she's going into. And maybe Christina is more so grown women, teenage women, middle age or something. Who knows? I don't know in regards to their influence, how they do it. But I did see a video in regards to Russell and Kobe. And it looks like they have like an app or something like that. I think I saw that on Instagram. So congratulations to them regarding that. Um, yeah, so we have Brandon and Christina. They're married. They've been married for a while, and they were having struggles. They were having concerns in regards to, she had basically said in counseling that I could get someone else if you don't choose to do right or be right by me, do right by me. And Brandon, of course, felt a way about that because he was like, she must really be mad because that's not like her to throw a dagger at like that at me and make a comment like that with me. So when they were talking about the artists, when they were at the winery, they were all sitting down, you know, many of the men, they were talking about taking a trip, and the men were saying, do you have to get permission from your wife? It's like, yes, of course I got to get permission because we have a family. We have a family dynamic. We have children. So I respect my wife to tell her when I'm going somewhere and to say, does this fit within our family schedule? Some of the other guys were like, I'll just go. I'll just, whatever. So I like the dynamic in regards to Brandon, Christina. They go through stuff, couples go through stuff, the highs and lows, businesses, and getting approval. If you take on a new artist, you should tell your wife because Christina was basically saying, you're taking away family time from us to do something with a new artist. So it looked like the showcase went well. I only saw Brandon's artist, and I think she did pretty good. I really think she has a pretty decent voice compared to some people that use auto tune or whatever. But I really liked Brandon's artist. So then we have Anthony and Latoya. So Russell and Kobe and Anthony and Latoya. Okay, let's get to this point. The Thompsons. Anthony and Latoya. Latoya works in healthcare, first responder, whatever. Anthony allegedly took on a job to be in Atlanta, and he was in Atlanta for 7 or 8 months. Latoya wanted him home because she was working as a first responder, and she needed somebody to be home with the kids because she was around these patients. And everybody knew that back then they were telling parents, if you can avoid being around your children until you can get in the shower, take the clothes off in the garage, try not to be around the kids, get in the shower, wash off everything, and if you could, because we didn't know, some parents, one parent was upstairs, other parent was downstairs, if they were a first responder, until we figured out what was going on. It was heightened. Coming from and knowing what Detroit was going through, had a family member and friend that was in the healthcare situationship. Some of the hospitals were very, very selective of how many patients they were taking. It was a hot mess. And a lot of us weren't trying to be around certain family members that were first responders because we didn't know what they were going to carry, give us, whatever. And sometimes they would be like, hey, even with me, I'm going to just be open. Even with me, hey, I need a ride here. I need a ride. I'm not getting in the car with you. I'm not going nowhere with you. I ain't going nowhere with your wife. I will just no, because it was too much. And a lot of people were scared. And we were hearing about in the Detroit area in regards to a bus driver had passed. He had stayed on the job. I don't think he was wearing a mask. A bus driver had passed, allegedly. And it was a big story because everybody really liked that bus driver. So if you're in Detroit, you know. Then there was this barber that stopped cutting allegedly at the barber shop and he started cutting in his house. He had passed. So many people were like, this is serious. And that's when we found out more and more and more and more. And then allegedly, even in Detroit, if you know, you know, there was a son that passed and a husband that passed. And the wife had to allegedly bury both of them. And then a lot of times people could not support them because it was a very selective few that could be at the funeral home. So there was a lot going on. So when Kobe speaks on I needed you home. You took a job without really consulting me, understanding what was really going on. And he was like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And I need to do this. So they were allegedly, Anthony and Latoya was allegedly throwing around the divorce word. And then he was being kind of like, this is what I'm going to do. If you don't want to be, supportive, this is what I'm going to do. And Anthony really got upset. And he was like, I don't understand why the family isn't supporting me wanting to take this job on. It was like, hello, wake up. We're in the middle of a situationship that's going on in the world. Then, allegedly, Anthony and Latoya's children were going through alleged having concerns being, I don't know if I can say the word, bully. People were bullying their children, and it was a concern. So she was like, as a dad, I need you here. One, because I'm in the hospitals helping. Two, I need you to help me with these children because they're going through something. And mind you, have family in Detroit. It's very important that it is a family oriented. We don't play about our kids. If a dad shows up and help, because children, teachers, they'll try and play your kid. So I like the fact that she stood her ground saying, you need to come home. You need to come home. When I'm dealing with this hospital stuff, that's one thing. They're saying we should try and, as much as possible, stay away from the children and have the other parent assist and help. Even some of our news people was staying away from the family for 2 weeks. If someone was exposed to, I have to be general because YouTube is a trip. So he finally came home. He cried about it a year or two later, saying, I just needed the opportunity. She was like, when you have a family, you have to be there for family first. Nothing else should take precedence over. And then, of course, Anthony has spoke to Latoya's father, who's a pastor. He said, look, I can't step in your shoes. I was helping. I was doing the best I could. But that's the biggest thing. If Latoya's father is a little bit older and he's a pastor, she didn't, of course, want to make her father ill, because where the dad should have been stepping in, her Latoya's father was picking up and dropping off. So he said that I saw how emotional your kids were, and they needed the comfort of their dad. And he was like, I get it. I should have made a choice to be there for my children. So there's that. I really enjoyed the reunion. They covered a lot. They talked about relationships, broken relationships. They talked about the what Christina's expectations are now. Christina and Kobe are trying to work on the relationship. But like I said, I like the show. I think it'll do well. It's family oriented. The relationship with God. They pray. They have Bible study. And then the men have had situationships. Now, Brandon and Russell are not as close because of what happened in regards to Kobe and Christina. But what wishes? I like the show. I think it'll do well. I think Carlos King is here to stay. Bravo needs to be careful. Carlos is making it happen. Now, they're not doing anything that's really, crazy. That's why it may not be trending. But it's a show to watch. If you want to watch something in regards to business-minded people doing well, like I said, Russell has other things that he's doing. He's in health and wellness. He's very in shape. And I really like one of the restaurants they went to. I actually went there on my birthday. And then my sister actually went there probably on our anniversary last week. So one of the restaurants they went to, a really good restaurant. Okay, so that's Russell, Kobe. Kobe, like I said, Kobe's an influencer. In regards to Brandon, is a producer, and Christina is an influencer, and then of course she's a mom. And of course Russell and Kobe, I don't think they have children. No, I don't think they have children yet. Okay, but Brandon and Christina, they have children. Brandon, like I said, a producer. Christina's a producer and a mom. Christina's an influencer and her mom. And then in regards to Anthony, he has different projects. I'm trying to remember what he does. But he's well off. He works. I'm just trying to remember what he does. Animation, maybe producing too. And then of course, Latoya is an influencer. So that's the question. What did he? So he works in the industry in regards to production. That's what he does, because that's why he took the job to boost his career in regards to that field. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let me know how you feel about Love and Marriage Detroit. Do you think Carlos did good? Of course, he has Love and Marriage DC. He has Love and Marriage Huntsville. Love and Marriage Huntsville is a trip. Like I told y'all, I know someone on the cast on Love and Marriage Huntsville. I will never attach my name. I know someone. I've been in their presence. And I feel that the men are disrespectful to the women on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And it was just hard to watch. It was. But well wishes. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe.